We ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let me take a big gulp, just so that way I have the moisture in my mouth ready to go.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast. We are back for your weekly dive into, well, we always say it's about hockey, but it's never really about hockey here. And I said weekly because Mr. Rendo Mills, who was joining me, we're in the summer months now, my friend. This is kind of the last big hockey one to talk about, free agency. We're 6 days into it at this point. We'll talk about it on the show, but aside from next week when Sin's back, today was his big travel day. I don't even know if he's home yet as of the time that we're recording this. I got to check in with him, but yeah, this is our last venture as a duo yet again, to pretend that we're both not in some ways completely disgusted by the world of hockey.
Yeah, hockey sucks. Hockey's a great sport to play. I will say that, but it absolutely is garbage. Hi, Paulina. Hello, bye. Love you. Yeah, she just got home. As
Yay.
always, perfect time for the podcast. Yeah, hockey's great. Tougie, how are you doing, sir?
It's the best. I'm doing pretty good. We both survived our respective nationalistic holidays. First Canada Day on the first. Did you do anything interesting for Canada Day?
I stayed. Oh, well, what did they even do on Canada Day? When was Canada Day? That was
first.
Saturday. The first. No, it was the first. But was it on a Sunday? It was Saturday.
It was on Saturday.
It was on Saturday. What did I do? I think I did nothing. I think I did absolutely nothing for Canada Day. Wait, I did a thing. I went to my dad, who works construction, landscaping, like paving, asphalt, all that stuff. Typical Paisano job in like GTA. Everyone's connected doing either one of the two, that landscaping or just construction. Had a friend, like really, really close friend, have a get together because his daughter announced that she's pregnant, having a child. Actually,
hooray!
Twins. Yeah, so congrats to them. And it was great because it was all Italians and Paulina. No, and because I'm half Italian, it was fun. Just a little get together to enjoy. Have a lot of different type of meats, lamb, spicy Italian steak, bunch of sandwiches, or as they call it, Sangwiches, and that I don't understand why they do that.
It's true.
I spent so much time around Italians. I noticed like the pronunciations and how they say their words. It's like sandwiches, espresso. It's espresso. Espresso.
There's no X in there.
There's no X. Why are you saying X? For the entirety of my life, I just didn't notice it. Now I do. I'm like, you're supposed to be. This is like your invention. Why are you saying it wrong? This is like me when people call me endurance instead of endurance. Why are you saying it wrong? But it was good.
Making
it was
letters.
Yeah, exactly. Just the Italian language is just making things up as you go, and you have the hands out there that kind of like it's like get on with the point, kind of explain.
The
everything.
hands do half the talking.
Oh yeah. Now they're finally in frame speaking. There you go. But it was good. I did that. And what did I do for 4th of July? I died outside. So in typical American fashion, while I was across the border over here in Canada, working my ass off, I was victim to slave labor while doing a landscaping job so I can have enough money to afford my rent. God bless America. God bless the Queen and the King, I guess.
That's the Queen. Oh, Sin needs to come back because the show's always off the goddamn rails. Well, as you know, I spent the 4th of July. Again, a family friend of my fiance's has invited us there 3 years in a row on a place down by the lake. It's lovely, and a lot of people bring their dogs. So I was the perfectly by choice dog sitter of the day, just playing in the lake, playing fetch. There was this one dog. He's fucking huge. I forget the breed of him, but he's 11 years old. He has goddamn colitis. So He's one of those dogs where it's like he needs the special diet. He's hanging on by a thread. Sometimes he just doesn't have that much energy. But he has energy when it comes to water. If you try to water the plants, whatever. So I am sitting on the dock next to this boat, and this dog is just staring at me. And I asked the owner of the dog, so what's going on? And she yells, he wants you to splash water in his face.
Oh my God! You know what this reminds me of?
I'm reaching off of this dock and using my hand and just throwing water into this dog's face as he's doing the biting at the water thing for half an hour. Laughing my ass off the whole time.
Oh my God.
You can't spend the 4th of July in a better way. You can't.
Not at all. The way you said that the dog was just staring at you reminded me of when you tried to order meat at a restaurant at the butcher, and you're like, instead of 1 pound of meat, can I get a pound? And you're like, what? And you just walked out.
Oh God!
Like,
yeah,
I know what you are.
For those that missed that, let me see if I can find that tweet to how I exactly worded this, because this was a thing that happened.
Okay, let me. It's good if the best way is to search on your Twitter. You go to your own.
I got it
on your app
from June 26th. This is a real thing that happened at the deli. Meant to ask for a pound of hard salami. Accidentally asked for a hard pound instead. He wasn't interested. Legitimate thing that happened because, hey, you know, we're rolling in the dough as a Twitch streamer. I'll go to the deli instead of getting the Hillshire Farms. You know, you got to splurge every once in a while.
Oh, man.
And just was so distracted, accidentally said the wrong thing. In his words, verbatim, "Hey, thanks, but no thanks." So that was half a pound, or so now if I see that guy at the deli, I wait to see if he leaves. So, you know. It's one of those things.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Tougies Take podcast. Fuck the hockey stuff. Just
it's downhill from here, man. It is. Jesus.
Full pounder episode title.
I was gonna go with God Bless the Queen, but yeah, we'll see where we end up. You know, it's fine.
Oh man.
I do suppose we should get to some viewer questions. We always, again, love when people input their questions on the Tougies Cafe Discord. The link, of course, is in the description, and whether or not you are watching or listening to this show. But before that, as always, Endo Mills, we need to remind the lovely people that this podcast is brought to you by our lovely friends at manscaped.com.
Yeah. Lovely friends at Manscaped. They got everything you need. They got the deodorant. They got the... Oh, here it is. Oh, they got the crop preserver. I just have everything here. Except for the Lawnmower 4.0 that's in the other room. Great tools for the job to make everything look nice and pristine and pretty. It's hot out. Toronto just had like a 3-day heat wave, and I think there was like a thunderstorm that's supposed to happen later today, or if not right now. And, you know, when you're working out in the sun or if you're relaxing at the pool, you know, you want to know that you're not going to have any random odors by chance, because, you know, we're men. Ball sweat sucks. I'll be real and very frank with it. Ball sweat sucks. I can guarantee you that you know a man in your life that has to deal with ball sweat, and it's not good. Sitting down at the desk at the chair and your balls stick next to your legs, oof, terrible. Tougie would know. Half the time he spends like streaming just because he's at a desk, right?
Yeah.
You know that feeling. Don't go into detail.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine. Yeah, but Manscaped, again, great, amazing products, not only for your balls, also for the rest of your body and your face as well, because they have that, you know, that shaver that I can finally probably use in like 2 months when I finally grow out this facial hair for once in my life. I mean, I'm making progress a little bit, you know. But yeah, that's Manscaped for you. Use promo code Tougie for 20% and free international, worldwide shipping. Those are the same words, whatever, you know what I mean. Get the products, look good, smell good, and feel good with Manscaped.
I can confirm. I had to follow up. Our boy is back in the U.S. as we are recording this. Sin has returned from the land of the Finns and is currently sitting at an airport in Dallas, waiting for his flight home back to California.
There you go.
Regrettably, he has come home for now.
I'm surprised he didn't take another week off and just hang out with his lady. And
I'm surprised too in some ways, but hey, he had to come back eventually. You got to come back before you can go back over full time, right?
Exactly.
Let's get to some of these questions that we have. The first one comes from Young Burrito. What is the best Subway sandwich? Question from me. When is the last time you had Subway?
Not gonna lie, it was a few months ago after hockey. So people who live in Toronto know that there's, Maple Leaf Gardens, which is now Mattamy Athletic Center, where the where's it? University? No, not Ryerson University.
Toronto Metropolitan.
Yeah, the Metropolitan University team, whatever. They play the Bold. They play there because they own the building. And right across the street, there is a Subway. Very nice people, very cool, great, because, they're making sandwiches and all that. Not Sang.
Sangwiches.
Sangwiches. Oh, man. And I think it was maybe 3 months ago or so. I'm going to say 3 months ago, I had a Subway sandwich. Nice foot long, because only way I... No, I'm not going to finish that.
No, it's summertime.
The only way I take my meat is in a foot long.
There you go.
There you go.
Size queen and no milk. All right, that's man. Another possible episode. Oh
God. But yeah,
so
my go-to.
If you recall on Twitter, everyone, for those listening to this, if you were wondering what the poll was for episode title that includes God Save the Queen, Sandwiches, and Size Queen, 13 minutes in or so, you already know. So
there you go. Yeah. So my ideal order is chicken teriyaki, like that one. Chicken. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I think it's like sweet onion chicken teriyaki. Yeah, that's the one. Get that on a foot long. Either get an Italian or Italian herbs and cheese. And then I'll put some... What?
Nothing. Just like herbs. Just laughing.
Yeah, herbs. Herbs and cheese.
Sitting here shit-talking Italians for sandwiches.
fucking herbs.
Anyway, continue.
Reminds me of someone was talking about like the Falkland Islands. These are fucking islands. Okay, sandwich. God, I have fucking ADHD. I can't focus on one thing. Sandwich, Italian herbs and cheese. Sweet onion chicken teriyaki. I'll get lettuce, onion. I'll get both type of onions that they got there on there. I'll put spinach because I fucking love spinach. Spinach is amazing. If I can, I'll put some avocado on there as well too. I believe some locations like have kale here in Canada for some reason. I put that on there too. Get everything on there as much as I can. All the greens, hot banana peppers, jalapenos, and then for sauces, I'll get the sub sauce. I will get a honey garlic, and then I will get a chipotle Southwest. And with aioli sauce. Areola. I was going to say, Melina, I have an inside joke where whenever you want aioli sauce, I always say areola because I mispronounced it the first time. It happens.
When you just never lets you forget it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I usually get. And then with that, I get a Coke.
And a Coke.
To wash it down.
One cheeseburger, please. Oh God, for me, you got to go the Happy Gilmore, the cold cut combo.
Ooh.
on Italian urban cheese.
Urban.
Italian urban cheese.
Urban. That's why I say it weird, because I'm urban.
God.
Sorry.
But yeah, you get the cold cut combo. You can throw what the hell you want on there. Put the pickles, put the bacon, do what you want, make it your own. But yeah, the cold cut combo is always the best. I haven't had Subway in at least like 3-4 years though.
Yeah.
Minimum. It's been a while. We have one in town, and then we always drive past it, and it's just that like, not today, old friend. I don't know if it'll ever be the day again, but not today, old friend.
There's one thing though, the menu has changed dramatically, at least here in Canada, from what it used to be. Now they have like bowls you can get, like salad bowls as well. They always have the chili and all that, but they've really revamped a lot of things here. And I also forgot, you get a cookie with the combo as well too. So I'll get a M&M cookie as well.
The white chocolate macadamia.
Oh
cookie.
Man, those are so good.
S tier. Absolute
So
S tier. That's the big problem. So I don't want to go to Subway because I can't walk out of there without a cookie or 7. That's the problem. That's the biggest problem of them all. Oh, God. What else do we have for questions here? Bouncy McBoink Boink. What's a game you remember watching with the big what the fuck just happened moment? Something during the game, either on ice or off. Okay, so it is hockey. I was going to say, well, the Super Bowl 28-3 Patriots against the Falcons certainly comes up there. But hockey-wise, something that happened that was just so outrageous you couldn't believe it. Said, what the fuck just happened? The first thing that came to mind for me, obviously has to be like the Patrick Kane Stanley Cup winning goal against Philadelphia, because nobody knew what the hell happened except for Patrick Kane. Bruins-wise, it still has to be the moment of Tuukka Rask losing his skate blade against the Lightning in the playoffs. That was the moment where he went and grabbed the skate blade and is just shaking it in the referee's face. Because I, as well, could not believe that at the time, I still don't even know if there is, like, the idea that, a goalie lost a skate blade, keep it going. Like, I couldn't really, and still don't really understand the idea of how that's just like, yeah, it's fine, don't worry about it. But then again, they do that with the glove and the blocker, the stick, certainly. The helmet's its own thing where they will blow the whistle for that. Again, hockey's weird. All right, I know before we were so rudely interrupted by a tech issue, I answered the question, what's the most what the fuck just happened moment you can recall in a hockey game? Do you have an answer?
I do not. I do not remember what my thing would be. No, sorry. I remember what my answer for this would be. I'm trying to think.
4-1.
I think the craziest thing was Eric Chalgren. I've had very little like crazy things happen at a sporting event that I've watched. Eric Chalgren getting brought in because I think there was a insane passing play from Matthews to Marner. It was like insane, and it was like, holy shit, that's crazy that this happened while I'm at this event, kind of thing. So
fair enough. Our final question comes from AJ. What is one summer tradition / thing you like to do every summer, aka a tradition? For me, it's going out east to watch the car races. I like the fact that he had to emphasize car races as opposed to just going out east to watch the races. And
God, I'm fucking terrible. Oh, fuck, that's good.
Do you have a summer tradition?
Dying in the heat. Besides that, I have no idea. What do I do in the summer? Right, the farm. Speaking about watching the races, so a few years ago, my uncle purchased a farm, and I made the joke 2 years ago that I bought a farm because it's like family owned, and and it was great. It was awesome. I believe they still have it, and I believe every year we have a massive get together ever since, just to go hang out at the farm and, enjoy and, relax with a bunch of land. And I brought up the idea of putting a hockey rink out there, but considering I'm the only person in the family who plays fucking hockey, who still plays hockey, they're like, yeah, it's a great idea, but none of us can skate. Like, you're the only one, your mom's the only one, and her brother's the only one, my uncle. So, yeah, it's not going to happen. Like, damn it. I always wanted a rink as a kid. That's the one thing I always wanted to have, but I lived in the middle of downtown my entire life, and we couldn't do that. So anytime there was like a puddle outside that was frozen over, grab a hockey stick and stick handle out there, and make do with what I had. So yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, no, I got nothing. in terms of the summer, it's always just, well, what do we have going on this year type of thing. There's never anything overly specific, I would say. That's a yearly occasion. So sometimes you're busy, sometimes you're not, sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. So yeah, don't have anything specific there, but that is okay.
Right.
Thank you for the questions, everybody. Appreciate you. I suppose we can talk about the stick puck. I suppose. Why not? What's going on?
One more thing quickly. The last time we had a get together at the what was it, the farm? Yeah, the farm. I think I had the moment where
like you're trying to come up with an alibi and you just you just can't keep it together.
Yeah. So the one thing that happened is, like you when you're like a kid, you develop into like, you're in the kids area and then you're in the adult area, and like it just kind of happens over time, and you kind of migrate from one section to another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the kids.
So all of the cousins, we all just kind of sat along like right next to the fire, just throwing stuff in the fire, lighting the fire on fire. It was kind of a moment where it's like, oh, we're getting old. We just like lighting shit on fire. I think what happened is like they threw a couch onto the fireplace itself. Oh, thank you. Dankeschön. Thank you. Dumplings. And we just started lighting a bunch of random shit on fire. And it's like, are we arsonists? Probably. But at the same time, it's like, oh shit, we're just kind of like, yeah, chilling by the fire, drinking beer kind of thing. Nice.
Just having a good time,
Yeah.
Just having a good time.
Good time.
So, God. Yeah, the hockey stuff. Why not? It's, supposed to be. It's what this show started as, but hey, you never know where we're going to end up, and I'm perfectly okay with that. A couple of quick things before we kind of be specific about, like, hey, free agency, right? The first, William Nylander. Endo, are you ready for an entire summer, if not an entire season of, oh my God, what are they going to do? William Nylander wants $10 million? What? How could he expect that when he's been here the whole time and John Tavares is making almost 11? I can't believe it. Are you ready for this? You thought the first go-around of William Nylander, oh my God, contract talk was bad? I hope you're ready for this.
This is going to be bad. I think whatever, man, I don't think they're going to trade him. I think they're going to keep him around regardless of the fact that he signs or not, because he's a good fucking player.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing that I will say is the second he leaves Toronto, he will be making over $10 million, regardless. Regardless, there is a trend that we'll talk about later on with players from Toronto teams leaving and getting fucking paid. Like there's getting paid, and then there's paid. Like there's paid with a capital P, and then paid with a capital everything.
And there's Akon paid. So
exactly.
Paid. If you're looking for the answer to the new whitest thing I've ever said on this show, there it is.
Sunrise, money on 65.
Oh, fantastic. The Columbus Blue Jackets became one of the most, if I'd say the second most dislikable team in the NHL, making the Mike Babcock hiring official. So good for you, throwing away most of the goodwill that you had from non-Blue Jackets fans, and I'm sure a decent amount of Blue Jackets fans. But don't worry, he talked to his daughter, and he understands now. On his fourth go-around as a head coach, he understands now. It's okay. Don't worry. It's fine. Screw bringing in anyone else who might have deserved the opportunity of finally being an NHL head coach. No, we got to go with this guy who hasn't won anything in 15 fucking years, but he's deserving. Anyway, I know anything to
they
add?
should have brought in Mike Babcock's son, Mike Babcock, who is now currently a part of the St. Louis Blues coaching staff. What a guy. 28 and looks exactly like his fucking father. Hopefully he's not as much of a dick.
Hopefully not. It's not difficult to not be, you know? Like, you got to put in work to be that big of a dick. But hey, who knows? Maybe the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree, as they say. Philip Zadina is no longer a Detroit Red Wing. Cool. That's just one of those things where people are just the discourse about Philip Zadina, and it's like, man, who cares? Like, this is what happens. Prospects don't make it sometimes. Yes, they took him early. Probably should have taken Quinn Hughes. It's just like the draft, the Hockey Hall of Fame, the awards. It's all the same conversation. This happens every year. It's like, oh, hey, this former first-round pick isn't with this team anymore because he's not cutting it. Will he cut it somewhere else? And the answer is typically no, but maybe. So, hey, Philip Zadina, no longer a Red Wing. Neat. Darren Helm, Patrick Hornqvist, and Michael Stone all retired. One of those things is not like the other. Congrats to Michael Stone for not winning 2 cups. That's right. Shots fired at Michael Stone for no reason whatsoever. Because we can. But Michael Stone accomplished something that the other two did not. And for that reason, he is vastly superior. Former Portland Pirate, Michael Stone. So
there
congrats on the best career of the 3, Mr. Stone. Oh, and on top of the William Nylander stuff, aren't you so excited for continued trade rumors about Alex DeBrincat and Erik Karlsson? And where will Vladimir Tarasenko sign? He fired his agents, don't you know? I'm so sick and tired of this already. I don't care. Just trade them or don't. It's not difficult. It's not. It doesn't need to be a 3-month process. It doesn't. Be better at your jobs. Get shit done.
If there's one thing
exciting. Thank you.
If there's one thing that I remember, there was a member of the Washington Capitals a few years ago, I think between like 2008 and like 2014, I can probably say. He had his contract renewal up. And he forgoed using an agent. And he made the deal himself and got like $4 million or something like that. And he could have gotten like 6. And he's like, I just wanted the deal done. I just wanted to get it through. It's like, we were going to give you more money. It's like, well, then give me more money. Can't remember who it was.
The last 2 guys I can think of that negotiated their own deals were Ovi and Drew Doughty. But I don't doubt that there's somebody else in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, fair enough. So, free agency. It's a huge undertaking every year to be like, hey, let's talk about 32 teams really quickly. Well, we're going to try. And we'll keep it relatively simple. Between the thumbs up, thumbs in the middle, thumbs down approach. And maybe someone will get the vaunted double thumbs up from Endo Mills. I doubt it. That's a tough thing to accomplish, but who's to say? So we are going to go through this relatively quickly. Just because it's fun. Consider this our winners and losers. The Anaheim Ducks aside from Trevor Carrick and Robert Haig, their big signings, 3 years for Radko Gudas and 4 years for Alex Killorn, making a shatload of money at $6.25 million per. For the Ducks, I give them a thumbs in the middle. Because, hey, Haig and Killorn improve your roster, but the rest of that team, it seems like it's like a, hey, we could tear it down to kind of go full rebuild type of thing. And then they keep signing guys like Ryan Strome, like Frank Vetrano, to try and stay somewhat competitive. And then they were trash last year. And then there's the, speaking of rumors that never fucking end, will John Gibson be traded? Will he won't? Oh my God, isn't it exciting? No, it isn't. So a thumbs in the middle for the Anaheim Ducks on their off season so far. Endo, do you have a rating for this? I'm not expecting you to give a shit about the vast majority of teams. It's a thumbs in the middle for Endo Mills.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Arizona Coyotes, who have signed everybody. Troy Stecher, Alex Galchenyuk, Travis Barron, Jason Zucker, Alex Kerfoot, Leafs legend, Nick Bjugstad, Matt Villalta, noted AHL face puncher Montana Onyebuchi, who still might be my favorite name in hockey, and former Shark John Leonard. It's a thumbs in the middle for the Coyotes. It's not bad. You got some decent roster players. You took up some cap space. You might be able to deal some people. It's fine. It's fine. There's nothing too crazy to overanalyze or try to do a deep dive in terms of a dissecting. Oh my God, what could this mean? It's just been fine. Endo's in the middle.
Sorry, I'm just eating right now.
No, it's cool. This is the off-season content that we have to work with, is trying to pretend like we know how signings, or how anyone's going to pretend that they know how these signings are going to work out in July when the season doesn't start until October. But this is what we do. This is the off-season content until Sin's back and we get to talk about Warhammer and Endo gets to talk about
cheese.
Yeah. This is it. This is the last show, the transition to the offseason. The Boston Bruins signed James Van Riemsdyk for 1 year, $1 million. Milan Lucic for 1 year, $1 million.
Jesus.
Patrick Brown, Luke Toporowski, Morgan Geeky, Kevin Shattenkirk, Jason Megna, Parker Wotherspoon, Anthony Richard, Jakob Lauko, and Kyle Kaiser. For the Bruins, the JVR signing's weird. I like it. The Milan Lucic signing, it makes me feel good. You know, they had to trade Taylor Hall. You go for a cup, you don't make it, you deal with the consequences. Make me feel good. Especially knowing that David Krejci and Patrice Bergeron aren't making decisions anytime soon. Make me feel good with Milan Lucic. And they did. Morgan Geeky making $2 million for 2 years. That might be a bit too expensive. I hope it's not. Kevin Shattenkirk's kind of weird too. They've done okay. I can't give them the big thumbs up quite yet. It's another team in the middle. I don't like to think about their center depth if Bergeron and Krejci do not come back, potentially being Pavel Zacha, Charlie Coyle, and Morgan Geeky. That scares the shit out of me. But, they've done okay. Don Sweeney, thumbs in the middle, which I don't remember the last time I gave Don Sweeney a thumbs in the middle rating on anything that he's done as Boston Bruins GM.
Mm-hmm. I think good moves. I think the one thing to do is, Bergeron and Krejci they're undecided. So if they come back, that makes your team even stronger.
Mm.
If they don't, you still have a strong team with these signups. So it's either you get these guys and you can trade them for, I don't know, maybe like a first next year, So that way, if they know this is going to be their last year, you can at least pick up a proper player first round in next year's draft. And next year's draft is looking to be pretty good, but we don't know because it's fucking July. It's like 360 days from now, there's going to be another fucking draft. So there's a whole bunch of time to pass to, for the find out what's going to happen with the NHL next season.
Very, very true. The Buffalo Sabres. Eric Johnson, Dustin Tokarski, Devin Cooley, Tyson Jost, Justin Richards, Connor Clifton, Cale Clay. This is my first thumbs down for the Buffalo Sabres. They gave Eric Johnson $3.25 for the year. They gave Connor Clifton 3 years at $3.33 million. I like Connor Clifton a lot. Former Bruin. That's a lot of money. I gotta be honest, I get the idea. You're thinking, hey, we already got a lot of our big pieces into place. I don't know if Clifton, Eric Johnson, if those complementary pieces are enough to get the Sabres to where their fans think they're going, which is back to the playoffs next season. I don't personally see it as of July 6th. It's a thumbs down for the Buffalo Sabres.
Shoutouts to Dustin Tokarski, absolutely keeping his career alive. Meanwhile, while what is his name? Oh, he's not even there anymore. He's with Springfield now. Never mind. Let's say Malcolm Subban, just doing whatever he can to make our lineup because he played really goddamn well over with the Americs last season. I got to see him. I got to see him on my birthday too. And
when
my mom was like, "Wait, I know him," and then turns out, my mom knows like the Subans.
Hey,
yeah, like I didn't even realize like I didn't put two and two together. It's like, oh yeah, you hung out with him like for like one meeting that we had. It's like, okay, that's cool. Like, yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet him after the game because we tried to like sneak in there for my birthday, and I think it was because the Marlies sucked, and yeah, so it was just like, all right, cool, yeah. So that's pretty cool. Factoid of the day.
So one thing we haven't talked about non-hockey wise is the potential implosion of Twitter.
Yeah,
I want you to know that I went to my home screen here, and in the "What's Happening" tab, trending. Hashtag pink for Billy. Hashtag a 4-word disaster. Trending in the United States. Hard R.
Oh, what?
What the fuck is going on? Oh
my God. What are my
Apparently
trends?
it's because Deadpool 3 is going to be rated R as opposed to PG-13. So,
God,
yeah.
hold on.
That's...
I'm going to look
Sorry.
up hard R on Twitter.
I just had to bring it up, and I'm like, all right,
Oh,
what the hell is this going to be?
was it Culture Crave, that tweet that popped up?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it does not feel different. Why do people just... God
I don't
damn
know.
it.
I don't know. People are ridiculous, aren't they? The Calgary Flames.
Deadpool says the N-word. Not today.
That's why he doesn't own the Ottawa Senators.
Exactly.
Yeah. Calgary, Dryden Hunt, Colton Pullman, Jordan Oosterley, Martin Pospisil, Brady Lyle, Benjamin Jones, Matthias Emilio Pettersson. Thumbs down for Calgary. You had the Tyler Toffoli trade happen. There's still all the uncertainty about, is Lindholm getting traded? Backlund, what's happening with Noah Hannafin? Leafs fans lost their fucking minds yesterday as MLSE's private jet was spotted at Calgary's airport. It's a thumbs down. The Calgary Flames are in a very similar spot to some other teams where it's like, you could try to push to still be relevant, or you could try to go with the somewhat rebuild. And they really, really should. Calgary's a mess right now. Flames fans, I'm sorry, but Calgary's a mess right now. But hey, at least the old Stampede's going on. Am I right? Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Crash
Yeehaw. We
Andrews.
saw.
Yeehaw.
You can follow, by the way, for updates on the Calgary Stampede. While Twitter's still alive, you can follow at RichardHead93 on Twitter for all of your Calgary Stampede updates, and tell him that the Tougies Take podcast sent you, and he'll be quite appreciative, I am sure.
Oh man, that man is such a legend. I keep liking his tweets, and he sent me a video, and it was really fucking funny, and I had to save it. Hold on, I think I can find it here. Actually, we'll find it later on. Like, I'll just play it randomly, and it's
that'll
just
be
so
the
fun.
end of the show.
Yes, end of the show.
That's your reward for making it to the end of this. Carolina, Jesper Fast, Antti Ranta, Frederick Anderson, Michael Bunting for 3 years, $4.5 million. Dmitry Orlov, Griffin Mendel, and Dylan Coughlin being re-signed. It's a thumbs up for Carolina. For me, they are still doing everything they need to do to still be competitive. I'm a little bit surprised they kept the goaltending the same. Yeah. I get the idea of, the scoring, but Dmitry Orlov's good at generating offense for the people in front of him from the blue line. Michael Bunting, we'll see how he can do away from some of the Leafs' top players and hopefully not get suspended in the playoffs. But it's a thumbs up for Carolina. And again, I think they'll be right there in the mix in the beginning of the season with people saying, who's your cup favorite? They'll be high up on the list.
Let's see if they can get out of the conference finals this time.
See if they can win a game in the conference finals for the first time since 2006.
Yeah, they've been swept 3 times in a row. That's bad.
Yeah. Hypothetical, Rod Brind'Amour is an amazing coach.
Yeah.
What would be cause for him to be fired, in your opinion? If you were a fan of the Hurricanes, is there anything that would make you say he's the one that's got to go, knowing that a head coach is always the first one out there? I mean, you talked about it a lot this season with Sheldon Keefe and the Leafs. They had 3 bad games on a Western road trip, and people were like, get rid of them. And they were right. But they weren't right at the time in terms of like, hey, come on now. It's like 7 games into the year.
Right. I'm not sure. I think this might be the last straw. Because it's not even that he's like a great coach. He's an amazing coach. He's got people to buy into the system, and it's shown results. But how often do you run into a wall consecutively and then say, maybe we have to try a different way around this wall? I think if you go 0-16 this year in the conference final, you need to reassess. And maybe he's not the correct guy to get past that hurdle. I mean, you could also say Florida made it really, really hard for them to win those games because it was a sweep. The way he even said it was a sweep, but not even really a sweep.
Yeah. Because
they technically, by definition, they lost that game. They lost that series in the lowest mathematical process possible by 1 goal every single game.
Right.
So at the same time, it's like, they did well, but at the same time, they're just hitting the wall.
Chicago. We cannot include Nick Foligno or Corey Perry. So as of today, they have made 1 free agent signing. Ryan Donato. For that reason, I think I'm still going to go thumbs in the middle for them because you have the trade for Taylor Hall. Like, you can't exactly include it in free agency, but you have to factor in that roster. I feel like they're in a holding pattern until they know what Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves want, especially Jonathan Taves, who, both of them are free agents right now. They've done well to have players on their roster that take up money while also trying to be bad. So I'm intrigued to see what they do from here. So I have to be nice and give them the thumbs in the middle because they're in a really weird spot, but it's a thumbs in the middle that's trending towards negative territory. Colorado. Yeah. And again, I am not forcing you to have any thoughts, because there are some people where it's just like, oh yeah, I could talk about this team off of one player all day. Why? They signed Ryan Donato. He's a solid NHLer. That's about it. I hope he does better in Chicago. He's been on like 7 teams at this point. Maybe not 7. He's not quite Alex Galchenyuk, but Jesus Christ. The Colorado Avalanche signed Corey Scheunemann, Miles Wood, Jonathan Drouin, Jack Ashan, former Providence Bruin, Arvid Holm, Chris Wagner, Riley Tufte, Andrew Cogliano, Bowen Byram, Eustace Anuin, and Jack Johnson again. It's a thumbs in the middle, maybe trending up a little bit. They did well to kind of stock up their depth, and I'm calling it right now. Jonathan Drouin is going to play in their top 6 and put up 50 points, and Habs fans are going to be just tearful. Absolutely tearful. So it's a thumbs in the middle for me, for Colorado. Initial reaction.
Kind of on the same a little bit.
The Columbus Blue Jackets have made one signing, technically, but it was a drafted player in Adam Fantilli, which, by the way, did you see that he sniped a goalie in off-season practices?
Oh my God. Okay.
I am wrecked.
I will say one thing. People looking at development camps for like anything besides a highlight reel to happen. I mean, like, oh, super analytical. It's like, yeah, cool. Of course, a star player is going to look fucking amazing.
Fucking amazing.
A show with a bunch of players who are still kind of in that junior A caliber play. They're good. They're good to be at the developmental camps. Developmental camp. Sorry, I'm just fucking tired. I need some more water. But just stop. Get some help. I don't understand it. I will never understand that. It's like, cool. Yeah, Connor Bedard was going to absolutely skate around the entirety of the camp with Chicago. And I think Chicago knew that. So they're like, we know how good our prospects are. We're going to bring this out for, character assessment and learn about your players and team build like that. To me, that was really interesting because they're the only team, as far as I know, who had a training camp with only off-ice activities. And maybe that speaks more to the organization trying to change up their, status that they have because of, stuff that's happened in the past 10 or so years. And I would say props to them for doing that a little bit. Wow. Praising the Chicago Hockey Club?
Fair. With Columbus, it's just one of those things. They haven't signed anybody, but they have a lot of younger guys in the lineup. So you look at that and it's like, all right, it's a thumbs in the middle. Like, they have room to still make a move, but they're going with their younger guys. I respect it. And again, to those younger guys, if you're asked to fill out a list about what you think about your teammates, run far, far away. Also, make sure you have a good therapist available in case you need that too. But don't worry, he's changed. The Dallas Stars. Matt Duchene, Joel Hanley, Craig Smith, Sam Steele, Gavin Bayreuther, Nick Camano, Scott Reedy, Derek Pouliot.
The Dallas Stars?
The Dallas Stars. I got to give that a thumbs up, man. Matt Duchene for 1 year, $3 million. They're just like Carolina. I think, again, they're a team that a lot of people will think, yep, they can do this. They have younger talent to fill out the lineup. I am still worried about their defense, which is on Cap Friendly listed as Suter Heiskanen, Lindell Hakanpää, Harley Thomas, Harley, and Nils Lundqvist. So still relying on some youth there. But you could always make a move at the deadline. That's a thumbs up for Dallas. I mean, getting Matt Duchene into that lineup, regardless of where you play him within the top 9, is a great pickup. Nashville's decision to move on from him and not thinking like, he's not one of the leaders we want on this team. Well, he doesn't necessarily have to be the leader on the Dallas Stars. They already kind of have their guys. So, takes the pressure off Matt Duchene. He's going to be feeling good in a new environment. we give it to we give the thumbs up to the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of players getting bought out and taking less money because you're still getting the fucking money. Like that time Tyler Ennis got bought out from his contract in Minnesota, and played for the Leafs for 2 years, making league min because he was still getting paid on the side.
Yeah. Oh, Tyler Ennis.
I miss that guy.
If you had to guess Tyler Ennis's career earnings, according to Cap Friendly's estimated career earnings, how much money do you think Tyler Ennis has made?
How old is he?
He is 33 years old.
Is he currently playing in the NHL?
He is not. He played in Switzerland last season. But he has had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different NHL contracts. How much money do you think Tyler Ennis has made in his career?
I'm going to say $45 million.
A little bit high, but 32, just under 32, which honestly is pretty good. Like, he was making his entry level deal with Buffalo, 2.8 for 2 years, 4.6 for 5 years signed with Buffalo. That was the one that was bought out by Minnesota.
Right.
Made $650K with the Leafs for a year.
Right.
$800K with the Sens. $1 million for a year with Edmonton, and then $900K with Ottawa.
He's not a bad player either. He put up 24. What a subpar Ottawa Senators team last year, which is pretty decent. And
a couple years ago,
yeah. And then he goes to Burn, 33 and 37. I'd say he could make an offer or can make a spot to come back here next year.
Back Tyler Ennis.
Yeah, I mean he is a free agent, UFA. Toronto, you need to save money, right? You're over the cap right now.
Oh,
Get rid of those players. Get rid of them.
We'll talk about Toronto's cap situation soon. First, though,
for free.
The Yzer plan. Detroit. Signing Matt Luff, Gustav Lindstrom, Daniel Sprong, James Reimer, Justin Hall, Tim Gettinger.
Oh, fucking $3 million.
You pump gas.
You're being fucked up. Oh my god.
Tim Gettinger, Klim Kostin, Alex Lyon, Brogan Rafferty, JT Compher, Shane Gostisbehere, Christian Fischer, and Nolan Stevens. We'll start with the good. Daniel Sprong, 1 year, $2 million. Not bad at all. Alex Lyon, 2 years at $900K. Not bad at all, especially if he can play like he did for the Panthers at the back half of last season. Shane Gostisbehere, 1 year, $4.1 million. Pretty good, to be honest. Then you have JT Compher, who was a very good two-way, primarily centerman. He does play wing too, but primarily centerman. 5 years, $5.1 million. And Justin Hall, 3 years, $3.4 million against the cap.
Why?
Yeah.
You know why? Because of my theory. Players who leave Toronto get the bag outside of Toronto because there's a bigger spotlight on you in Toronto. You do good, you do relatively good, and then you go, AJ, make me more money somewhere else. And they go, oh, okay, and then they just get you a bunch of money. Bunting was going to get paid regardless. He got a lot of money. Hall got paid. I don't think he deserved to get paid. I think he's a decent defenseman, but I don't think he's... How do I put this? I don't think he was used the way he was meant to be used in Toronto after his rookie season or his first season here. Because there was so much hype around him because, he scored 2 goals in his first 2 games in the NHL, and then they started using him differently with Keefe's system, and then it just went to shit. And then he also had some really boneheaded decisions as a defenseman that you don't make. So, yeah. Who knows? He could absolutely flourish in the Detroit system. Again, it's all speculative. You never know.
It's one of those things, though, where you look at, okay, what does Detroit shaping up as, and they still have a shitload of cap space, which is surprising to me. They have like $11 million in cap space right now, despite these. Yeah, they got $11.7 million in cap space, which doesn't make sense to me. But for example, right now their team, like their defense, is shaping up to be Wallman, Sider, Sherratt, Hall, Mata, Gostisbehere. Potentially, we'll see. That has some concerns. Ville Husso and James Reimer, who both had sub 900 save percentages last season. You know, they got some good forwards. Do they have star forwards? I mean, Dylan Larkin was 1 point under point per game last year. Nobody else on the team had over 60 points. You know, people are starting to doubt the Yzer plan, and for that reason, I am kind of in the same boat of, all right, it's a thumbs in the middle for the Yzer plan at this stage. But yeah, it's been an interesting one, I think is the best way to put it. The Edmonton Oilers: Noel Hoffenmeyer, Connor Brown, Lane Peterson, Drake Caggiula, Ben Gleason, and Olivier Rodrigue. So basically, from an NHL perspective, you're primarily talking about like Drake Caggiula and Connor Brown. Connor Brown, though, has maybe the most interesting contract in the NHL right now. He is coming off of a major injury, in which last season for the Capitals, he played just 4 games. His contract has a cap hit of $775,000, which is league min, on a one-way deal. But he has a performance bonus for $3.225 million at 10 games played. I don't know if we see Connor Brown ever play for the Edmonton Oilers. Like 10 games, that's where you're setting the bar, is 10 games. What does that say about the state of his health? It's a very smart contract in a sense of, man, if he is healthy, Connor Brown's an amazing addition. But you're the Edmonton Oilers. You have $5.6 million, struggling to sign RFAs Ryan McLeod and Evan Bouchard. You have a ticking time bomb known as Leon Draisaitl's UFA status, which is 2 years away. You have 2 years to do the damn thing. I cannot imagine a scenario where Leon Draisaitl gets bumped up from $8.5 million to what, 12 on Edmonton? And then you get 1 year of Draisaitl on 12, McDavid on 12.5 before McDavid's contract has to be renewed with him being a UFA. You got 2 years, Edmonton. And I agree it's a shrewd move about Connor Brown. But you are paying Evander Kane over $5 million a season. You are paying Cody Ceci $3.25. You are paying Jack Campbell $5 million. I don't know. It's you know, for me, it's somewhere between a thumbs down and a thumbs in the middle for Edmonton, only because the Connor Brown move is pretty crafty. Everything else about this offseason, I think, has been a drastic failure for the Oilers.
Yeah. I'm just kind of hoping something happens for them, I guess. Because it's weird, because I'm not sure what the Oilers can do, because they have great talents in McDavid and Draisaitl. Amazing, you know, basically top 2 players in the league. But, like, I don't know what else they can do in terms of that roster itself. Because teams are getting smart and picking up players. And there's, like, not really a lot of people who can keep up with Connor McDavid because he's fucking Connor McDavid. It's like you have to put a line where it's Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and then X player. Like, as in, like, X. Like, who's going to go there?
Right. Yeah, they're...
How the fuck was that going to happen? Like, that's the only guy who I can think of who could play with that line and perform that good.
Yeah, so their team right now on Cap Friendly: Kane, McDavid, Brown, if Brown plays. Nuge, Draisaitl, Hyman. Then third line, you get to Janmark, McLeod, Fogle. Okay. Holloway, Malone, Ryan. Okay. Defense, Nurse, Cece, Ekholm, Bouchard, Kulak, Desharnais. And then Skinner and Campbell in goal. It just still doesn't scream the team to me that is ultimately going to make it to the Stanley Cup final. It just doesn't. Sorry. It just doesn't. The Florida Panthers, aside from the free agent signings, traded Anthony Duclair to San Jose for forward Steven Lawrence and a 5th-round pick to get rid of the cap space. With said cap space, they sign Mike Riley, former Bruin, Grigory Denisenko, Dmitry Kulikov, Nico Mikkola, Alex True, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Lucas Carlson, Anthony Stolars, Kevin Stenlund, Evan Rodriguez, William Lockwood, Gerald Mayhew, and Rasmus Asplund. For me, it's gotta be a thumbs in the middle as well. Because, I'll tell you why. Rodriguez for Duclair, it's a pretty close to even swap. Based on the analytical approach, I'd probably rather have Rodriguez. But, it's a fine enough deal. Their defense, this year they might be without Ekblad and Montour for a decent amount of time. Right. Meaning their projected defense right now is Forsling, Mahora, OEL, Kulikov, Mikkola, Kierstead. I don't know. I just feel like the Florida Panthers could fall into the same trap of, hey, we might sneak into the playoffs if our team's healthy. It's a thumbs in the middle. I don't think they've had this like home run off season so far where it's like, oh yeah, you expect them to get back to the Cup final, but it also hasn't been a disaster. Thumbs in the middle. The Los Angeles Kings. Andreas Englund, Jared Anderson-Dolan, Mikhail Maltsev, Dave Riddick, Cam Talbot, Trevor Lewis, Steven Santini, Joe Hicketts, and the news that broke while we were recording today's show, Anze Kopitar, 2-year extension, $7 million per. That doesn't start until next year because he's on the last year of a deal at $10 million. I agree. I like that deal a lot to the point where it makes me go from a thumbs down to more of a thumbs in the middle. Yeah. Because they are relying on Cam Talbot, Dave Riddick, and Phoenix Copley to get them back to the playoffs. And I wouldn't bet a ham sandwich on them getting into the playoffs with that goaltending, let alone my life or money.
Oh man. I want to like Dave Riddick, but I can't. Yeah. I can't. He went from great save Dave to having Felix Potvin like tribute gear here in Toronto. Then he went to no save Dave. And I feel like teams are getting him on there because he's a good team guy. And generally, I hope he has, I don't want to say a resurgence in his career, but I hope he's able to find consistency and become a backup goaltender. I hope Dave Riddick becomes the Curtis McElhinney of goalies. Nice, swell guy, completely cool, awesome, and is able to just bail you out of games. But, you got to find your composure.
That is the way. So, yeah, thumbs in the middle for Los Angeles at this stage. The Minnesota Wild have made 2 signings, Vinny Lettieri and Jacob Lucchini. I feel like I got to talk with my hands when I say Jacob Lucchini. Yeah, no, this is a thumbs down, man. They have, and in fairness, they did also make the trade of acquiring Patrick Maroon and forward Max Kashkovich for a 7th from Tampa. So when Patrick Maroon is your biggest acquisition, when you have $8.2 million in cap space, RFAs Brandon Duhaime, Kalen Addison, Philip Gustafson, I get you have $14.7 million in dead cap. I get it, man. I do. The fact they haven't been in on other people for me is insane. They have room to be in for other people, but they haven't done anything. It's a bit of a thumbs down for me for old Bill Guerin, especially for the Wild, where the joke is every year, well, they made the first round. See you next year. Yeah, just thumbs down for the Minnesota Wild. Montreal. Brady Keeper, Philippe Mallet, Elias Anderson, Raphael Harvey-Pinard, Mitch Stevens, and David Reinbacher. Beautiful, beautiful man that he is. In terms of, hey, don't fucking trash talk 18-year-old kids because they had the audacity to get drafted by somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah, so Montreal, it's, I guess it's a thumbs in the middle. I guess it is. It's a tough call, but it's a thumbs in the middle. Mainly because they're in the same spot where they have a lot of younger guys that they want in the lineup, and they're trying to work things out. Now, here's the thing, everybody. Endo is short on time.
Yes.
And is going to have to run.
Yes.
So I'm going to rant about the rest of these on my own. But before that, we will let Endo go. But not before whatever the hell that clip was that you were talking about earlier.
Oh, the clip of Richard Head?
Yes.
Hold on, I have it in my screen recordings. I wasn't able to find it specifically. So make one more rant about a team right now. Next team on the New York Islanders, right?
What did we say? Thumbs in the middle for Montreal. Yeah, Nashville has had a really weird offseason. Nyquist, Shen, Cody Glass, Angelo, Ryan O'Reilly, Grossnick, Carrier, Weatherby, Mullen Dyke, Caitlin Lind. It's thumbs in the middle. And the reason for that is it's really weird that they're like, hey, yeah, we're going to get rid of people, but then also we're going to bring in the right leadership like Ryan O'Reilly and Luke Shen. It's a thumbs in the middle for them. Are you noticing a trend? I hope so. And did you find it?
I didn't find it. A lot of teams, I will say, not looking too good for moves. It's a very off free agency. So that's probably the reason why a lot of teams didn't make a lot of crazy moves, or a lot of teams are getting kind of like lower scores from us because there's not really anything crazy to talk about.
It's true.
Keep going.
I will. Damn it, I will. It's a thumbs in the middle for Nashville. New Jersey, Bastian McLeod, Chris Guolo, Shalgren, and Justin Dowling. They did a lot of their damage outside of free agency, which I respect. They have $5.6 million in cap space. They have to sign Kevin Ball. They could still make a move, and I think there's a player or two out there that they could make a move for, and maybe they should. But again, younger players, they're trying to work into the lineup. They also acquired Colin Miller from Dallas for a 5th-round pick in 2025. Thumbs in the middle.
Middle.
You're not going to find it, are you?
I'm not going to find it. Unfortunately, I won't find it. I will send it to you, Tougie, when you find it, and just, if it's funny enough, just put it in there. Put it in the thing. I'm going to go. I'm going to run. I'm going to turn off my camera, so it's just going to be black, which means there's no difference. Hold on. Wait for it.
Everybody say goodbye, Endo.
Oh, what's that? I never left. See you, Toog. Enjoy the podcast and your silence of nothingness. That You know
what? I will sit here and rant to a black screen because why not?
I mean, it's the same as streaming, right?
It is, basically. So everybody that's still here, let's speed run this shit fast because, boy, ranting and raving to myself gets old very, very quickly. The Islanders, Pierre Engvall, forever and ever, amen. Varlamov for 4 years. Scott Mayfield, forever and ever, amen. Ilya Sorokin, forever and ever, amen. That's a good one. Kuhlman, Pino, Gauthier. I'm gonna say it's a thumbs up middle. Thumbs mid up. Solely for Ilya Sorokin, who might be the best goaltender in the NHL. I get the idea of holy shit, Lou Lamoriello handed out a lot of term. It's crazy. I get it. At the same time, I do think, again, this is a team, especially if Bo Horvat settles in, which we'll see, it's a team that could maybe do something. I do think it's a team that's built for the playoffs. They just have to get to the playoffs first. So it's a thumbs up, mid up. Yeah, mid up was what we decided. So that's cool. The New York Rangers. Jesus Christ, they signed a lot of people. Tyler Pitlick, Eric Gustafson, very good. Nick Bonino for dirt cheap. Nick Brouillard, Blake Wheeler for dirt cheap. Connor Mackey, Jonathan Quick, Riley Nash, Alex Belzile, and Mac Hollowell. It's a thumbs mid up for the New York Rangers. It is. It's honestly really trending towards outright thumbs up. Gustafson for dirt up. Thumbs up. New York Rangers. Eric Gustafson, 1 year, dirt cheap. Bonino, Wheeler, each for 1 year, each dirt cheap. Jonathan Quick as well as a backup. Scares me a little bit in 2023, 2024. But I think the Rangers have done pretty well. They do have $6 million in cap space, but they do have to sign Lafreniere and Keandre Miller as RFAs. Miller going to be the more expensive of the two. So I imagine that's why they're not in on some other people. But again, I think the Rangers, similar to the Hurricanes, teams like that, Dallas as well. Hey, people view you as contenders. You've strengthened your team. Yes, you lost like Kane and Tarasenko, but I'm going to be honest, are they really that big of losses? I think they did pretty well. Ottawa. Brandstrom, Amama, Korpisalo, Pilon, Highmore, Curry, Chartier, Bernard Docker, Travis Hamonic, and Zach McEwen for 3 years. It's got to be a bit of a thumbs down. I'll tell you why. Like re-signing Brandstrom, Bernard Docker, pretty good. We all kind of know the reasons why Hamonic is still there. Jonas Korpisalo, 5 years, $4 million. I don't know about that, Chief. I don't. They have $7.5 million left. They still have to sign Shane Pinto. There's still the DeBrincat situation. But yeah, Jonas Korpisalo and Sjogard as your goalies, probably. Anton Forsberg, actually, in fairness, it was on LTIR. Yeah, maybe, but Korpisalo's been so up and down in his career, I just don't know if I could trust it. I don't. And the myth of playoff Corpy was busted in the first round this year. If it's not an outright thumbs down, it's a mid down. Speaking of mid, the Philadelphia Flyers. Ryan Poehling, Rhett Gardner, Garnet Hathaway, Mark Stahl, Ronnie Attard, and Victor Mete. It's a thumbs down from a free agency perspective. Because I think there were some people you could have gotten. Maybe if they land a Philip Zadina, he'd be a good fit. Try him out, see what he can do. But they didn't really get younger players that might be something. Because I'm kind of off the boat with Ryan Poehling. So it's that idea of you got Garnet Hathaway and Mark Stahl to help fill out a roster while you're tearing it down. But is Mark Stahl that type of veteran leadership you want for your team? I don't know if he is. And you also failed to trade Travis Sanheim and Scott Lawton. They've done some good things this offseason. Free agency's been a little bit rough for them so far, even though you don't expect them to be we're going to bring in Tarasenko and it's going to be fine. So, The Pittsburgh Penguins. Nieto, Nedeljkovic, Jari, Graves, Achari, Eller, Shea, Koppen, and Johnstone, Zahorna, Hellberg, and Butcher. It's a thumbs in the middle for me for Pittsburgh. Nieto, not bad. Achari, Eller, if he's healthy, not bad. Will Butcher for dirt cheap, not bad if he can reclaim some previous form. Even Nedeljkovic for relatively cheap. Jari, maybe much, maybe not. We'll see. Ryan Graves, 6 years, $4.5 million. I think old Kyle Dubas took some chances. So it's a thumbs in the middle until we know for sure. But he took some chances. San Jose Sharks picked up Anthony Duclair, as well as Mackenzie Blackwood, Giovanni Smith, Fabian Zettel, Ryan Carpenter, Kyle Burrow, Scott Saber, Nathan Todd, Leon Gawanke, the German. It's a thumbs in the middle here too. Blackwood might be able to salvage his form here. Lord knows it worked out for Aiden Hill. They get some grit with Sabourin and Burrows and Giovanni Smith. They obviously have younger guys they're trying to fit into the lineup. It's a thumbs in the middle. I think, again, another team where it's okay, we know what you're trying to do. Are there those guys out there, the Daniel Sprongs of the world, where it's okay, we take these younger guys or some of these guys where it's okay, teams don't really believe in them. You're the rehab project, sell them off for profit, help the rebuild. I think San Jose could have done a little bit better in that regard. Seattle, Schultz, Studnich, Dumoulin, Hayden, Yamamoto, Carrick, Tucker Robertson, excuse me. It's a mid down for me. It is. You don't keep Sprong and Geeky, but you bring in Yamamoto. You don't keep Susi, but you bring in Dumoulin. Have you made forward progress? Have you fallen? I think you're just kind of where you were. So it's a mid down for me because kind of where you were was good, but there was the opportunity to maybe step a little bit forward, especially with, only RFAs to sign are Borg and Dunn. Fleury, Dunn will take up some money, but right now they're showing up at $13 million in cap space. You could have weaponized that just a little bit more. So it's a mid down. There's a lot of teams in the NHL. Jesus. St. Louis Blues, McEachern, Kalanick, Jacobs, Subban, McGing. It's a thumbs down for me for St. Louis. They are a team who don't really seem to know where they want to go. Obviously, you acquired Kevin Hayes, a bigger deal fell apart, but they are a team to me where they're just like, well, let's see how it goes. And, maybe you could argue that's just kind of where they're stuck at this point because of the contracts and the term. Is it the idea of like, well, it's too much to get rid of it once to strip it down, but are we good enough to go for it? They do go for Kevin Hayes. 2.3 million left in cap space with Toropchenko to sign. I mean, how much more could they have done outside of like, well, we got Kevin Hayes? I'm intrigued to see if it works. It's a mid to a mid down for me with St. Louis because even the accentuating pieces that they got, it's not a ton. I mean, Mackenzie McEachern might be decent. He looked okay for Carolina in the playoffs. The Tampa Bay Lightning, Logan Brown, Connor Sheary, Archibald Johansson, Glendening, Chaffee, and Calvin DeHaan. It's a mid for me, but maybe kind of sort of trending upwards. And I say that because I do think someone like Connor Sheary could be amazing for Tampa. You get Archibald Glendening to help in the bottom six. Knowing Tampa, Calvin DeHaan will somehow return to prior form. But with the cap hit of their LTIR candidates, or with the cap space of their candidates, they have about $3 million to spend. Tanner Jeannot's an RFA. I can't imagine he won't claim much. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still a little bit worried with Tampa in terms of their defense. Edmund Chernak, Sergachev Perbix, Fleury Bogosian. But I still can't rule out Tampa. Tampa has officially entered the Washington Capitals stage of people every year are going to say, this is the year they fall off. This is the year they fall off. Washington underwent that for 3-4 years. They won the cup. It's like, oh, they could do it again. Then they didn't. Okay, now they're going to fall off. And then finally, this year was the year that they missed the playoffs. I'm intrigued to see if it is actually the year that Tampa falls off. I think it's too early, though. I think it's too early, and I still think they'll be a playoff threat. The Toronto Maple Leafs, we did not get to this before I had to go. Archer Akhtiamov, Ryan Reeves, William Lagesson, Rafai, Klingberg, Lajoie, Bertuzzi, Domi, Gambrell. It's a thumbs in the middle for me. And I want it to be a thumbs up because I do think Domi, Bertuzzi, each on 1-year deals are fine. It's Ryan Reeves for 3 years, where it's the idea of like, oh, but he's a locker room guy. And then it's John Klingberg at $4.15 million. I do not understand. I've said this repeatedly, and I do not understand how John Klingberg was able to get $4 million on a contract after his last season. He bet on himself the prior offseason, didn't really work out in Anaheim, Minnesota. How was he able to command $4 million? And now it puts the Leafs in the situation where they are $3.2 million over the cap, even with LTIR factored in, unless Matt Murray ends up on LTIR, meaning they have to give up something to get rid of Matt Murray, which you might have had to do anyway. But yeah, I don't know. Klingberg might be amazing, but right now on paper, he shouldn't have cost that much to bring in. So it's a mid for the Leafs in that I do think their roster, they were able to offset some of the losses with some players who might thrive. At the same time, the cost was a little bit higher than it probably should have been for those pieces. So it's again, mid for a reason. Vancouver, Bluger, Soucy, Irwin, Sachenko, Cole, Nielsen, Heroes. It's also a mid. Bluger's fine. Ian Cole and Soucy are fine. Ian Cole's on a 1-year deal. Soucy's on a 3-year deal. Is the fear for me from the outside looking in that Carson Soucy could be the next Tucker Pullman for this team? Yes, it is. It is another team where it's like, well, we have young players, so we got to kind of go for it, but do we want to stick with the pieces that we have? I just don't know if they still know their direction. They have $2.5 million in cap space, having to sign Vitaly Kravtsov, who already left for the KHL as an RFA. So really, they don't have anybody else to sign. But the question is, what do? You are getting Tanner Pearson back, which is nice. For me, it's a thumbs in the middle because I feel like the middle is right where Vancouver is of what the hell even are you at this stage. Vegas, Morelli, Quinney, Geertsen, Patera. It's a bit of a thumb. It's a mid down for me, really. $3.5 million to sign Brett Howden. Robin Leonard presumably going to stay on LTIR. They already re-signed Aiden Hill, which is great, but again, we're focusing July 1st and afterwards. but most of that core is still intact, with the exception of Riley Smith. I do wonder if they're still going to be out there for the Alex DeBrinkets of the world, or if they're going to find a way. But for the most part, you look at their team, and is it a little bit concerning? Like, oh, you're going to have to rely on like Howden and Cotter and Michael Amadio a bit more. Yeah, but that defense is still intact. The goaltending is still strong on paper. I do wonder if Vegas kind of waits out some people and says, well, Tarasenko, you might not get that contract you wanted, but do you come here for dirt cheap, try to win a cup, and then cash out next year? Could happen. Washington, Pacioretty, Dubé, Shepard, McElrath, Phillips, Limoges, I don't know, Ferravari, Sutter, Prisky, and Andrew Cristal, who they just drafted. Pacioretty, shrewd move. Again, if he stays healthy, that could be awesome for them. Pierrick Dubé did very, very well in the minors last year. I don't know if he'll get a shot, though. Re-signing Martin Ferravari. The big thing for them is Max Pacioretty, and a trade as well of Joel Edmondson on his way to the team as well from Montreal. Again, it's one of those teams with Washington where I wonder, like, are they still going to be able to put up a fight? You can look at some of the pieces in their bottom six. It makes you wonder a little bit. Again, will they be in the running for some of these younger guys to help fill out a lineup? I don't know. But I can't rule them out as, okay, they're a bubble team for me, playoff-wise. I can't say with certainty, there's no shot Washington makes the playoffs. And then Winnipeg, Delia, Nemesnikov, Viel, Brossois, Falby, Samberg, and DeVincentiis Dominic is a goalie for North Bay. It's a thumbs in the middle. Again, you factor in, even though you shouldn't, you factor in what they did before, the trade of Pierre-Luc Dubois. I do think they've done okay to get those surrounding pieces, the Nemesnikovs, the Brossois, Falby and Viel for like forward depth. They do have about $8.5 million in cap space, but have to sign Barron, Kapari, Velarde, Logan Stanley, so you can understand why they haven't really been in the money at all. But again, makes me wonder if they could get anybody else. And Winnipeg, for me, also, bubble team. I could see them making the playoffs again next year. I could see them missing out. It depends on what happens next with Scheifele and Hellebuck. But with that, everybody, we made it. We made it. And I thank you for sticking around here. And if this doesn't perfectly sum up the summer feel, Sin, he's sitting in an airport in Dallas still as I record this. Endo, he's got stuff to do, running all about in the summer. It's just how it goes. And for me, again, we'll be running around. It's going to be a wild summer. And again, pretty much back to one a week unless there's a special occasion, a special exemption, or in case the friends just, we just miss one another. Who's to say? But we will be back next week. Should be the return of our favorite Californian. And until then, manscaped.com, code Tougie, Tougie. And we will see all of you next week. Goodbye.